Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a bookshelf scavenger hunt. These are some of my favorite reading vlogs to film because I never know what book that I'm going to end up reading in this video. If you don't know how a bookshelf scavenger hunt works, I have a list of 10 prompts which is going to lead me all over my bookshelves. I'm going to start at one book and the next book and the next book and the next book are eventually going to lead me to the book that I'm going to be reading in this video. I genuinely think I've tried to film this video 2 or 3 times already over the past few weeks and I just haven't managed to get a book, but if you're watching this right now, hopefully it means we found something. Something was at the end of the rainbow, something was at the end of the journey. Okay, the first prompt is to pick a book that I gave 5 stars, then find another book you would recommend to people who liked that book. I've had an uncharacteristically really good reading year so far, not by quantity, but definitely by quality. I'm gonna pull out Heartless by Elsie Silver. I know a lot of people love this one. I am included. I gave this book 5 stars, and if you loved Heartless just as much as I did, I would recommend to you my most recent read that I can't get out. This is Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. This is a very similar premise. They are both nanny romances. They're both small town and they're both set on cattle stations, I want to say. And if you're a big fan of either of them, I would highly recommend the other. So now, moving on to the second prompt, we're going to use Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. And the second prompt is to count the number of letters in the title, then pick a random spot on my bookshelf and count to that number book. Lost and Lassoed has 14 letters, so I'm going to pick a random spot on my bookshelf, count 14 books ahead, and we'll see what we end up with. I'm gonna close my eyes as well and try not to get dizzy and knock over my camera. Oh my god. Okay. Is that's a really thick one. I think that's the Mindfuck series. I don't know. I'm gonna go for this one. Okay. Ice and Ivy by JD Evans. From Ice and Ivy, I'm going to count 14 books along. I'm not going to include these books up here. These are my TBR for the month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Tutoring the Player by Rebecca Genchak. I haven't read this one yet, but judging by the title and the cover, I'm fairly certain it's a college hockey romance where one of them tutors the other. Could you imagine? Shock horror. So now, using Tutoring the Player, we are going to go on to our third prompt, which is to look at the cover and find another book with one of those elements in the cover. We could go for the hockey stick. We could go broadly for just 2 characters. That's probably going to be the easiest. We could do Swift and Savage. We could do Wild and Wrangled. We could do Collide by Balcabra. The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. Oh! We could do Heartstopper. Wait, that's kind of fun. A jock and like there's two characters, 2 cartoon characters. That's a bit fun. And the fact it's college and this is high school, but an education. We're gonna spice things up a little bit and we're gonna go for Heartstopper Volume 1. This is such a beautiful story. I love this series so much. Highly recommend. Using Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, I am gonna go into the 4th prompt, which is to reverse the page number of your book and find another book with a page count closest to that number. 362. I don't want to spoil anything. So we're gonna be looking for a book with a page count closest to 362. I don't know what the thickness of a 362 page books looks like. Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova. Oh, this one's way too long. This one goes into the 400s. Duststorm by Maggie Gates. 391. Is that close? That's like 30 pages off. We'll keep it out. I obviously can't really logistically check every book on my bookshelf, so we're just gonna go till we find one that's like in the realm. I would like to get a little bit closer than 30 pages though, so we'll see. Phantasma by Kaylee Smith is 400 and something pages. Never mind. Maybe Emily Wilde. It is just over 300 pages. That's kind of nice to know. The fact that this book is like just over 300 pages entices me more to read it, so I'm gonna lock that piece of information away, but unfortunately it doesn't help us right now. I'm gonna venture back over here. I'm gonna put Collide by Balcabra. I finished this one in May and I really enjoyed it, so I would love to recommend it to you if it's got the ideal amount of pages. 383. That's pretty good. What's that, 21 pages? Should we do it? I'm gonna do it. Simply because I want to talk to you about Collide by Barbara. We're gonna choose this one. It's 383 pages, which is 21 more pages than 362, but it's in the same sort of ballpark, so we're gonna go for it. This one is another college hockey romance. Hello, I have heaps of them on my shelves because I love them. I really enjoyed this one so much. Summer was gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Aiden was hot. Oh my god, they're forced to work together on a psychology project. He's the captain of the hockey team and she's a psychology major. It's great. The tension in this one, that's Collide by Barbara, and using this one we are gonna do prompt 5, which is to list some of the tropes of your book and find another book that shares one of these tropes. I feel like the most obvious one to go for is a hockey romance. College hockey romance even, we'll even stretch it that far. So I could do The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I could do You're Not College Hockey. Ooh, I'm gonna do Weak Side by S.J. Silvers. This is another college hockey romance that I absolutely loved. Apparently I'm just gonna give you all of the college hockey romance recommendations today, but I'm here for it. This is Weak Side by S.J. Silvers. This is a college hockey romance where they accidentally get roomed together in the dorms and there's no way to fix it. Kind of maybe a little bit unrealistic, but I suspended my beliefs and it was great. Now using Weak Side, we're gonna do the 6th prompt, which is to find a book that has the same color combination as this one. We're thinking dark browns, we're thinking blacks, we're thinking turquoise, aqua. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Not quite, this one's a bit too bright. Tease by Melanie Harlow. Same kind of combination, but this one's like much more blue. Let's venture back over there. Sea of Ruin? No, it's too blue. Ship of Bones and Teeth. That's not bad. I'm gonna keep that one out as a contender because I think we could do something with that. We could do A Fate and Blood. Ooh, hey. Weak Side and the Bridge Kingdom. I feel like they're actually pretty good. If you literally just flip the Bridge Kingdom upside down. I think we found our winner. I think we found our winner. With our black and brown and turquoise book cover, we can go on to the next prompt, which is to, I didn't tell you what this book was about. I don't actually know. She gets sent off in an arranged marriage to the awful king, I'm assuming, and it turns into a bit of an enemies to lovers. I might have to read this one soon, I'm not gonna lie, it sounds pretty good. Using the Bridge Kingdom, we can go into our next prompt, which is to read the first sentence, pick any word in that sentence, and find a book with the word in the title or pictured on the cover. I love the chapters in these, by the way, the chapter pictures. Lara rested her elbows on the low sandstone wall, her eyes fixed on the glowing sun descending over the distant mountain peaks. Nothing between here and there but scorching sand dunes, scorpions, and the occasional lizard. So we're working with elbows. We're working with a low sandstone wall, eyes perhaps, glowing sun, distant mountain peaks, scorpions, and lizards. I'm trying to think if I have anything with like a lizard or a scorpion pictured on the cover. I don't know about scorpions, but the serpent? Does that have a snake on it? Are snakes lizards? I don't think they are, but they're scaly. This can maybe be our temporary placeholder. This is the Serpent in the Wings of Night. It has a snake coiled here. We'll keep looking, but this one might be the best option. Crabs? Hey, are crabs close enough to scorpions? Sun, the sun, distant sun. I think I'm gonna go for the Serpent in the Wings of Night. We're going for loose interpretations here on my channel. Vampire, deadly trials, only one person can win, and yeah, it's a bit of an enemies to lovers. She's a human and he's a vampire. It's great. I really enjoyed it. I like this whole series so far, actually. So using the Serpent in the Wings of the Night, we're gonna go on to the next prompt, which is what tropes are in this book and find a book with a similar trope. This prompt used to be a different one in my past scavenger hunts, but this one was the one that was causing the most issues for me, where I just simply could not find a book from it. So I did change it up a little bit. We're going with trope skin. We could go broad with enemies to lovers. We could go niche with vampire romance because I don't have a lot of those on my shelves. Carissa Broadbent has Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, which this one's enemies to lovers too. It says she was commanded to kill him with a single strike to the heart. She didn't expect her own to betray her. So I think I'm gonna go for Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. With this one, we're gonna look at the cover, this beautiful republished cover, and we are gonna find a book that has a similar aesthetic, a similar composition, a similar looking cover. Bloodguard, that from memory has a sword on it. Similar composition with the sword down the middle, but I think we could maybe do better on the colors. Oh, you know what? Tell me that's not the exact same cover, just in a slightly different font. So I think we're gonna go for Blood and Steel. Using Blood and Steel, we are going to add my birth month and date together, turn to that page and read until I find a book with that word in the title or on the cover. This is your final book. My birthday is the 19th of March, so I'm gonna add together 19 and 3, which gives me 22. So I'm gonna turn it to page 22. Osiris was a man of average height who was dwarfed by the warriors he surrounded himself. Warriors? Immediately I'm thinking clad in armor, maybe some armor, or we could go for like more weaponry. Warriors have weapons. Let's keep reading for some more clarification. Tonight we welcome home one of our most revered war swords, he began. I do kind of have a book in mind, I'm not gonna lie. It is a recent release, which is why it's so pertinent. I think I might choose it. I think I might. So we're going on armor and warriors. A war sword, for those of you who have read Blood and Steel, was a knight. We have in the background our heroine, I'm assuming, is half clad in armor and knight is in the title. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You know, I feel like this challenge always relies on some slightly loose interpretations because you're never gonna get everything bang on, but I feel like that's pretty damn good. I'm actually so obsessed with the cover. I'm gonna be really disappointed if I don't like this book simply because the cover is gorgeous and I want to display it face out on my bookshelves. Here we have the final book that I am gonna be reading in this video, so if you want to hear my thoughts as we go through it, stick around. I am gonna be doing a spoiler-free reading vlog for the remaining half of this video and we're gonna find out how I feel about The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Rory's about to fit 6 with armor. An armor fitting scene. And a caretaking scene. Oh my god. As per usual, I'm always putting my best foot forward on the vlog. Always getting done up. I need to wash my hair. I have slapped on some makeup over the top of this morning's makeup. I was hoping to actually finish The Knight and the Moth today. Hey, first update of the video, almost finished the book. I was hoping to finish it today, but I've started to learn to sew, which is kind of fun. So I spent all afternoon sewing instead, but it's 7:15, so the night is still young, as they say. I did indeed get carried away. I have 100 pages left. This book, The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, great for the religious trauma girlies. I'm healing a little bit actually, which I was not expecting, but it's happening. The world is this kind of old-timey medieval sort of setting where omens and religion has ruled for centuries, but there is beginning to be a little bit of pushback. Times are a-changing. We have knights and kings and gargoyles and hey, we've got lady knights. Can I hear it for the lady knights, everybody? And on top of all that, we also have diviners, which is what our main character, Sybil, is. Now, we've established that there is a devotion to these omens. It's the religion that rules the land, and diviners are said to be, hey, divinely connected to these omens. The omens, by the way, and how that kind of system works, there is 6 of them, and the diviners, when they dream, are dreaming of either good or bad portions. So the omens will either have faith in you or they will shun you. Now the book opens when the newly appointed boy king and his cavalry visit the cathedral and lucky Sybil gets to divine for him. Now she dreams of 5 bad omens. There's this whole thing where the 6th omen doesn't usually show up, so for the most part it's usually only 5. The boy king and the majority of his men are strangely unfazed, which leads me back to the theme of denying religion. Later in the night, Sybil is stumbling back to her cottage delirious after literally drowning in fermented spring water in order to dream for the king, when she happens upon this king and 2 of his knights. They've stolen some spring water. Highly illegal, by the way, but it's the king, so what the hell is Sybil gonna do? And this is where we meet our love interest, the knight. A quick-witted, dark-haired and quite cocky man, Roderick or Rory. Most importantly, and what kind of starts him and Sybil off on the wrong foot, is that he is very open and loud about his denial of the omens. And he kind of thinks Sybil is a little bit silly for believing them and following them. If any of you have seen the BBC show Merlin, he's Gawain. Basically, in my mind, that's him. That's Gwaine. Gwaine is Rory. But I also saw some great fan art. I don't know if it was AI, so I don't want to like promote it. But Rory's hot. And the fact that he's a knight just makes it so much better. He and Sybil, as I kind of mentioned before, develop my personal favourite kind of relationship. The one where they bicker incessantly until the tension becomes just a little too much, only to have a realization moment where they retreat back into themselves and pretend that it never happened. And they go back to bickering and the cycle just starts all over again. I love it. I eat it up every time. A little tidbit that propels the story and eventually is the driving factor for the plot and for Sybil, which eventually gets her out of Aisling Cathedral. I'm always going to pronounce it differently, is that she is joined by 5 other diviners. Now these diviners typically serve the church figure for 10 years and their 10 years of service is almost up. But shortly after the king leaves, these 5 diviners, excluding Sybil, begin to go missing, leaving only Sybil and her gargoyle, who are obviously gonna leave the cathedral to go and track down her friends. These are the only girls that she's ever known. She feels like she's really close to them, like she's got a soul tie to these ladies. They've talked at length about what they're gonna do, how they're gonna live their lives once they leave the cathedral, how they're gonna stay connected, how they're gonna continue their friendship outside of the church. And so she's just kind of like, no brainer, I'm gonna go and find them and my gargoyle is coming with me. Tracking down the diviners eventually leads Sybil back to the king and obviously Rory. And I don't want to spoil what happens next because I was shocked to my core. Oh my god, it really took me by surprise, the direction that this story took, but it was fun nonetheless. There are so many things to love about this book. For one, Sybil's gargoyle. He is the comedic relief of the story and he affectionately calls everybody Bartholomew. He also has a habit of reciting common phrases but getting them ever so slightly wrong. So Rory's horse enters the story for a little bit and the gargoyle, taking great offense on the horse's behalf, cannot understand why anyone would beat a dead horse. He thinks that's so unfair and that the horses have really drawn the short end of the stick, and Sybil has to try to explain to him that it's just a phrase for, well, beating a dead horse. It's just a discussing a topic at length that really doesn't need to be discussed anymore. I just think his kind of inability to understand something, no matter how much it's explained to him, his inability to understand the finesse and the actual meaning behind the saying is so funny and really adds like just a comedic character to an otherwise probably pretty depressing setting and story. Also love Rory, if that was not clear. And we got an armor fitting soon and he got flustered. They both got flustered, but he really got flustered and he had to leave the room and get Maud, the lady knight, hello, to come in and finish the job because he was so... I also like Sybil. Due to growing up at the cathedral, that's all she's ever known. She's very sheltered and so she's making a honestly great vessel for me to learn about this world, for the readers to learn about the world, because she doesn't know anything either. So when the kings and the knights are educating her, it doesn't feel info dumpy because we're getting her reactions and we're getting her internal thoughts to what is being told to her. So that's just a really nice way to kind of see the world that this book is taking place in. She is definitely naive, but she is in no way stupid or stubborn. She's very quick to adapt actually, which I'm really enjoying. She has kind of just jumped right on board with the knights and the king in order to go and save her diviners, and she's just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna come along for the journey as long as I get my girls. Which I like. I don't love in a character when they drag their feet and whinge about a situation the whole time. So the fact that Sybil is kind of taking everything in her stride is actually really, really nice to read about. I am hoping that we'll maybe find out some more about her history prior to joining the church, where she was an orphan. She was very young. The book calls them foundlings, and there's like these foundling schools where all these orphan kids go, and the abbess who runs Aisling Cathedral handpicks her diviners and like educates them up. Rory actually also was a foundling, but he took the way opposite route to Sybil. So Sybil went to the church, obviously, got brought up believing in the omens, but Rory, he was taken in by a religious figure who treated him really poorly, and he then decided to side with the omen deniers. So it's just really interesting seeing how he and Sybil contrast each other and how their upbringings have molded them and their beliefs. Honestly, it's all just really cool and well thought out. Even the language that Rachel uses is so well thought out. So I have an example. Maud, the Lady Knight, is educating Sybil, but instead of using the word educate or teach, Rachel uses, I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, catechize. Instead of using the words educate or teach, Rachel uses catechizing, which literally means to instruct someone in principles of Christian religion by means of question and answer. So there's just so many like mundane words are replaced with something that hits the religion nail on the head. It's so artfully thought out and it just really adds to the whole like experience. It's cool. So yeah, I think that brings my update to a close for now. Really thoroughly enjoying this book. As I said, 100 pages left. I would love to finish it tonight or like tomorrow morning. I'm interested to see where the series is going to go after this one, because the way that it is, it could honestly be a standalone, so I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's not too much of a big cliffhanger. I don't think it's quite hitting 5-star, but it's absolutely heading for like a 4.5. I'm having a good time. Rory has a big fat crush. I fear Rachel ate with this sentence. It would have been as arbitrary as everything else that happened at Aisley Cathedral. Teaching a girl intended to drown how to swim. She kind of cooked. She really cooked with that one, I can't lie. He waited at the gate of every place he touched until I granted him entry. Oh my god. Rachel's really cooking right now, I'm not gonna lie. She's cooking with gas. She really is. Now we are gonna hope and pray that my camera doesn't die during this little update because I haven't charged it. We're gonna touch wood, okay? Touch wood. But good news is I finished The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig and it was great. Very content with the fact that there wasn't too much of a huge cliffhanger at the end. There was just enough to mean that I'm intrigued to see where the next book is gonna go. Definitely left enough of an opening for the series to continue, and I'm interested to see it expand into a book or a couple of books. I have no idea how long the series is going to be. I would love to know. But I'm excited to continue the series. I reckon the found family and the politics is going to amp right up. I think that's going to be... the main kind of focus for the next book moving forward, because the ending of this one, I did see it coming. About 100 pages out, like just after I gave you the last update, Rachel dropped some subtleties that kind of clued me in a little bit. So I was not surprised, but I was still upset. I think I'm gonna settle on a 4-star for this book. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved Rory and Sybil and the world, and I think it was really well developed and fleshed out, and every character felt like they had a purpose in the story. It just didn't quite give me that 5-star feeling, but I would absolutely still recommend it. I think it was a great read. Really easy and compelling and flowed really well. The pacing was pretty good. I didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. I could honestly not even really give this book a critique, to be honest. Like, I really enjoyed it. I found nothing wrong with it. It just didn't give me that like, oh my god, I'm obsessed and I'm blinded by my adoration kind of feeling that a 5-star gives me. I had a good time filming this video. It did take me a little bit longer than I was anticipating, as most reading books do, but I really did enjoy this book. If you guys have read The Night and the Moth, I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings about it. Comment down below if you loved it, if you hated it. I want to see like the general consensus of what the girlies are thinking about this book. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've potentially found a new book recommendation if you haven't read it just yet. And yeah, if you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because I would love to have you here. My Instagram and my Goodreads are always down in the description if you want to check them out. Thanks so much for watching once again, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!